Hey Lifers, Dustin here. It is Thursday, so it's time for another edition of College Football News. I did not put one out last week because honestly, I looked around and I searched and I could not find anything worthy of actually making an entire video about, grouping a few things together. Literally, the only thing in college football I saw that even mildly piqued my interest was the fact that Jesse Balmer is coming back to ESPN but won't call games, but will be in the studio, and apparently he won a bidding war with Fox, and he's going to be on Good Morning America, and I don't really care. I don't really like Jesse Palmer that much anyway, so I don't really care about that. I figured you wouldn't as well. So instead, I decided to forego last week, and hopefully, some stuff would happen this week, and boy, did they. Now, I have several stories I want to talk about today, but of course, as you're watching this, if there's anything that piques your interest, I have links to everything down below, as well as if there's something that I missed that you want me to talk about, or you just want me to be aware of, let me know that down in the comment section. The biggest news this week that could have huge implications on college football, if it is allowed to go through, and if it stays the way it looks like it's going to, is California's new state travel ban. This is a ban on the state-funded employees of universities and colleges to locations in states that they feel have discriminatory laws against the LGBTQ community. This actually went into effect on January 1st, and for some reason I didn't hear about it. I don't know why, considering some of the states that were in the initial ban, but it has expanded this past week. The original list included Kansas, Mississippi, North Carolina, and Tennessee. And this past week, about a week ago, Alabama, Kentucky, South Dakota, and Texas were added. Now, of course, anybody can go to these destinations from California on their own personal free will. There's no, they're not sealing the border or whatever. But they are saying you cannot go there using state money on official state business, which is interesting. For instance, this year's basketball championship, the Final Four, is in San Antonio, Texas. If UCLA is able to make it and win their portion of the tournament, their regional, I know the word, if they win their regional, will they not be allowed to go to the Final Four and play for the national championship? Does the team that would have played them get a pass to the national championship game? Or will the committee just decide not to put any schools from California in the tournament in case they do make it that far? That way they eliminate the problem from the beginning. Now, as for how this impacts college football, the law, AB 1887, it allows for contracts that are already in place to continue to go through. So games this season is Cal at North Carolina, Fresno State at Alabama, San Jose State at Texas, and UCLA at Memphis are still ready to go, as are future games like Cal at Ole Miss in 2019, Fresno State at Texas A&M in 2020, Cal at TCU in 2021, and Cal at Auburn in 2024. Wow, Cal is certainly trying to travel a lot, aren't they? But the bigger implication could be bowl games as far as college football is concerned. So, for instance, the Alamo Bowl has a tie-in with the Pac-12. What if UCLA qualifies for the Alamo Bowl? Could they not go? Because technically there wasn't an agreement already for UCLA to go to that bowl game. Or could it be argued that since the Pac-12 has a contract with the Alamo Bowl, that would supersede the law? It gets really weird. What about the 2018 semifinal that is the Cotton Bowl, or that year's national championship game, which is in Dallas? What if USC can't go to one of those? What do you do? This could get very messy very quickly if there's not some agreement that's struck or something. Too many things in sports happen in Texas and Tennessee for them. If we're being honest, the Kentuckys and the South Dakotas probably aren't that big of a deal, but Texas, North Carolina, Tennessee, those are bowl destinations. Those are travel destinations. Those places, outside of college football, they have a lot of conferences associated with them. Let me know what you think about all of this down below. Do you think it is good for them to take a moral stand, even if it risks money? Do you think it's kind of haughty and short-sighted? Let me know what you think down in the comment section. And, considering the subject matter, be nice, be respectful. I will be moderating, so if you don't see your comment there later, just be nice. The University of Missouri announced something pretty interesting this week. Apparently, the school, facing a budget shortage, had to close 7 dormitories on campus, which is weird. All I have is going to Alabama, and we just kept opening dorms, so it's weird to think about them closing them. But close them they did. But in order to try to make back some of the money, the university had an interesting idea, and that is rent those dorms on the weekends to visiting fans and alumni. Yup, the going rate right now that they're thinking about is $120 a night for a 2-bedroom, 4-bed suite. For comparison, the local hotel in the area, like a Holiday Inn or something like that, usually on game weekends apparently is around $250 a night, while the lower end motels like Motel 6, things like that, are about $110 a night. So it's a pretty good bargain. I mean, yes, it's a dorm, and those are never ideal, especially if they're like abandoned closed dorms. Whatever, I assume the university will clean them. But they're just these empty buildings that'll be filled with alumni and fans. I wonder if any visiting fans will be able to get them. They won't know until you show up, right? That could be interesting depending on what happens in the games. It's been my experience that when alumni come back for college football games and stay the night, they get trashed, a lot of them, and they end up being very rude and they cause a lot of problems. So I can very easily see this going south very quickly if the wrong ingredients people were kind of mixed together. What do you guys think about this? It's super convenient. I mean, if you go out and get trashed in Columbia, you can just walk back to your dorm like you used to, and that's nice. It is kind of an interesting proposition for UM to make, though. What do you guys think? Also, not football related, but I just want to throw this out here because it's such a weird story. Apparently this week, some dude drove his car into Missouri's basketball arena, the Mizzou arena, and took a little joyride, causing about $100,000 in damages before leaving the arena the same way he came in, and he turned himself in on Sunday morning. It has been a weird week in Columbia. In fun rivalry news, Utah is switching their beverage contract from Coca-Cola to Pepsi. Now, why does that matter? Why in the world is that on this video? Well, Utah is red, and BYU was blue, and Coke was red, and Pepsi is blue. And now, for some reason, all of the Pepsi products are not going to have the blue background on their cans and machines. That's pretty weird. Also, Mountain Dew Code Red will be, quote, prominently displayed around campus. I love rivalries. Next up, we have something pretty interesting. SB Nation, and there's going to be a link to this article down below. SB Nation looked at the last 67 AP preseason polls, which is all of them. They didn't have one before 1950, and tried to determine the most overrated team in the preseason each year. Now, it's a pretty ambitious little task to take on, and 2 teams got the honor 5 times, and 2 teams got it 4 times, and I could have guessed one of the 5-time and one of the 4-time winners of this little experiment. If you want to check it out for yourself and see if your team made the list and how many times they made the list, I'll leave a link to it down below. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to talk about little kids getting football scholarships anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. It was kind of funny at first, and now I just don't care. So I have to keep talking about it, though, because these stupid schools keep doing it, even though I still don't know how I stand on it. I guess I think it's a little early. I have to talk about it because it's news when you offer a freaking 9-year-old a scholarship. So yes, I've already talked about Hawaii and FAU offering middle schooler scholarships, and Illinois was like, you know what? We can do it better. We're going to offer a 10-year-old Bunchy Young, who is a 4th grader, a scholarship. A 4th grader. They claim that he has drawn comparisons to Deshaun Jackson, and I'm praying for the life of me they mean 10-year-old Deshaun Jackson, though at this point I'm really not sure. Also, 9-year-old Haven Finney Jr. received a scholarship offer from Nevada, so that's where we are in 2017 now. And to close us out, I got a few little quick bites. Northwestern announced this week that they will host the Notre Dame Fighting Irish for the first time since 1976 at Evans Field next year on November 3rd. The Wildcats have won the only 2 meetings between the 2 programs since 1995, while Notre Dame won the 14 before that. Arizona announced new uniforms, and I think they look pretty cool. Cal announced new uniforms, and I think they're kind of plain and boring. So that's it for the college football news roundup that I found this week, that I found the most interesting. Again, let me know what you think about all of these stories down below. Be nice. And anything that I may have missed, let me know down below, and include links if you can. It'll get caught in the spam filter, but I'll approve it if it's an actual good link. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can click on the circle right there in order to subscribe, or watch any of the videos over here to the right that YouTube has adjusted for you. Thank you so much. And as always, until next time. America, and I don't really care. I don't really like Jesse Palmer that much anyway, so I don't really care about that. I figured you wouldn't as well. So instead, I decided to forego last week, and hopefully, some stuff would happen this week, and boy, did they. Now, I have several stories I want to talk about today, but of course, as you're watching this, if there's anything that piques your interest, I have links to everything down below, as well as if there's something that I missed that you want me to talk about or you just want me to be aware of, let me know that down in the comment section. The biggest news this week that about, grouping a few things together, literally the only thing in college football I saw that even mildly piqued my interest was the fact that Jesse Palmer is coming back to ESPN but won't call games, but will be in the studio, and apparently he won a bidding war with Fox, and he's going to be on Good Morning Matt. Could have huge implications on college football if it is allowed to go through, and if it stays the way it looks like it's going to, is California's new state travel ban. This is a ban on the state-funded employees of universities and colleges to locate. Hey Lifers, Dustin here. It is Thursday, so it's time for another edition of college football news. I did not put one out last week because honestly, I looked around and I searched and I searched and I could not find anything worthy of actually making an entire video.